All right, hello wine drinking people. Time for more of what I've had to drink yesterday, and I have people tell me on a regular basis, Andrew, you have the greatest job in the world. And I'm not going to argue with you because drinking the world's greatest wines and, well, I mean, eating some pretty good food along with it. You know, Wine Watch Catering, my wife is no slouch. And everyone that came to this event not only commented on how great the wines were, but the dinner was also off the charts. The duck confit, just perfect with these vintage Bordeaux's. And this is the Big 8 from 82. So the Big 8 are the 5 first gross from the Medoc, classified in 1855. Brion from Pessac, Chateau Margaux from Margaux, Chateau Mouton Rothschild, Lafite Rothschild, and Chateau Latour from Pauillac, the powerhouse appellation in the Medoc. And then we have the 2 first gross from Saint Emilion, which Saint Emilion was classified in the 50s. And Cheval, Blanc, and Ausone were up on top when it was classified. And, of course, the wine that, well, never classified, Pomerol, but Petrus, the most sought-after wine from Bordeaux. And the most expensive, this 1982 that we had on the tables, $5,000 a bottle. Hey, you know, when I get great wines, I would rather drink them than sell them. And this tasting was kind of prompted by a collection I brought in with just a few 82s in it, 4 of the first gross. And I said, man, the bottles didn't look great, but I knew the collector, I knew the seller. And I said, I'll bet the wines are just fine. And when you're opening up wines like this, we charged $1,250 a person, but this event was sold out. We had a waiting list for it because how many opportunities will serious wine lovers get to drink all 8 of these in one sitting? Like I said, for a fraction of the cost of 1 bottle of Petrus. We don't have any problem selling events like this, and every single bottle we opened was good. We had 2 of everything except for the Ausone, which back in 82, Ausone was the underling of all these wines. And even though the 82 Ausone was excellent, it's still the least favorite wine on the table. Actually, it did get a vote for second place, though. All of these wines got a vote. No, the Yquems we didn't vote on, sorry. Doug Martin, thank you very much for bringing the 82 Yquem. That's his signature move. And who else would have 82 Yquem? Because, you know, in a great vintage like 82, for red wines, oftentimes the conditions are not great for sauternes as in 82, which this was an abundant vintage. This was a huge vintage. This was the vintage that Robert Parker Jr. became famous because he said, this is one of the great vintages in Bordeaux. And none of the other critics thought it was. They thought it's a flash in the pan. The wines are so delicious right now when they were released. How could they be good in 20 years from now, 30 years from now? Well, let me just tell you, these wines have got 20 or 30 years left in them. Everything on the table better the next morning. And we started out with the Ausone. Actually, we started with a little Krug because that's how I roll, baby. If money is no object, I am drinking Krug, and the non-vintage, multi-vintage Krug is as good as any of the products they make. It takes 20 years to make a bottle of non-vintage or multi-vintage Krug. Some of the wines in the bottle 20 years old, that's what that means. And barrel fermented, one of the biggest of all the champagnes, and this wine even better after it was open at the end of the night. I kept my glass of Krug until the very end. The Ausone, this wine was a little bit dried out in the fruit, but had some nice pepper and tobacco, cigar box spice, still a little red currant and plum fruit on the nose, and one of the oldest vineyards in Saint Emilion. And today they are making wine at elite level at 82. This wine, like I said, excellent, but definitely not nearly as big as the other 82. Still very drinkable, though. Nice, soft, silky tannins, a bit of that red cherry and currant berry fruit here, and a little cigar box spice and fresh earth, that peppery nuance from the nose coming through on the finish. And hey, this wine did get 1 vote for second place. The Cheval Blanc, this is the second time I've had this in a week, and this wine just delicious. A beautiful nose of sweet tobacco spice, red currants, figs, gravelly, minerally notes, wonderful concentration here, and the bouquet just even better on the second day. Smooth and silky on the tongue. This wine still has bright red berry fruit, lovely concentration, wonderful freshness and balance. This wine will last another couple of decades or more. Still some tannins at the end. This wine got 1 vote for first place. The Petrus up next, and this wine benefited the most from being open for a day. In my glass the next morning, this wine really blossomed. A handful of fresh earths, some beautiful truffle, barnyard, coffee, toffee, an abundance of red plum and cherry fruit, cigar box spice, thick and viscous on the tongue. This wine's got a load of plum and cherry fruit, very layered, that clay-like earthy component you get. Petrus sits alone up on top of the plateau. 100% of the soil for these vineyards are blue clay, and you really notice that minerality in the wine. This wine's still a baby, though. It needs some time to open up, 20, 30 years or more. This wine got 3 votes for first place and 3 votes for second, but again, 4th overall You can't judge by the price. All right, the 82 Brion. This wine has that textbook smoky character to the nose that Brion has. A little beef jerky there, some red currant berry fruit, a host of herbs and spice. Really well endowed with some cedar coming out also. Really nice on the second day. Smooth and silky on the tongue, but a solid core of red berry fruit. And really exotic, spicy, smoky note to the finish here. A little green pepper and some tannins at the end. This wine got 2 votes for first and 1 vote for second. Most excellent juice. Still has another 20 or 30 years at least. The 82 Margaux, wonderful complexity here. Wow, this wine had a beautiful bouquet of fresh earth, truffle, toffee, cigar box spice, red currant, plum fruit. Very exotic. And this wine very well endowed on the tongue with a thick core of fruit here still. Red berry, plum, and an array of spice, box, and earth, and wonderful acidity here. This wine is really well built. Will be around for another couple of decades. This wine came in second place. 5 votes for first and 4 votes for second. Killer juice. It got my highest rating. The 82 Mouton Rothschild. Man, this wine had that classic pencil lead, graphite, cedar, cigar box, fresh earth, a bit of barnyard, and a good deal of red berry fruit here. Still really well endowed. This wine is big and chewy on the tongue with tannins, a load of them. That menthol, the tobacco, all the nuance from the nose showing through on the finish. Long and layered. This wine just seemed to go on and on. The Pauillacs, to me, were at another level. These wines still very youthful. And this wine got 3 votes for first place, 6 votes for second, putting it in third place overall. Most excellent juice. Chateau Lafite, we probably should have showed before Mouton. Lafite is the most elegant of all the first growths in Pauillac. This wine had a beautiful bouquet of exotic spices and fresh earth, red berry, currant fruits. And like I said, appeared to be a little lighter on the palate than the Mouton or the Lafite, but not light in nuance and spice. And on the finish, this wine seemed to go on and on as well. And this wine got 2 votes for first place. And, you know, most excellent juice. I just thought maybe we should have showed it before the Mouton, but all great wines. Everything on the table here showed really well. The Latour, the powerhouse, the tour de force, was the wine of the night. This wine rated 100 points from Parker, as was the Mouton and the Lafite, although Parker did lower, scored a 97 points on the Lafite. Real powerhouse, cigar box spice, that pencil lead, cedar, the most intense fruit too, a darker fruit, black currant, plum, and really some gravelly, minery notes. Very impressive on the second day. This wine big and chewy, still an array of tannins here, but also an abundance of ripe, dark berry fruit just cascading through the earth, the spice, really long layered finish. This wine needs another 30 years, but a joy to drink right now. Beautiful with that duck confit, as I mentioned before. This wine got 7 votes for first and 8 votes for second. Overwhelmingly the wine of the night. And hey, like I said, thanks again to Doug Martin for the signature move, bringing Chateau Yquem 82. I had a Magnum of 96, which was pretty good also. The 82 seemed a little musty to me, but had some lovely mushroom, earthy characters coming out, as Yquem does when it gets older. And the 96, a lovely honeyed character, and that peach and apricot fruit drinking at beautifully right now, but Yquem will last 100 years. All right, that's what we had to drink at our 1982 Big 8 tasting. I'm your host, Andrew Lampasoni, signing off for the Wine Watch, saying remember, always drink the good stuff first.